Hi, welcome to Patilipi's Workshop. I'm Jim Gary. Today I'm going to do a video about my Tesla. I have an older Tesla Model 3 and I paid in advance for full self-drive, that's FSD, when I bought the car in 2019. But I only began to get the beta versions about 2 years ago. So my car has the older version hardware 3 of the driving computer, and the newer Teslas have hardware 4, which is more capable. And the hardware 4 cars are up to version 13.2.8 of full self-drive. But the older hardware 3 cars like mine are on a different track of updates because the hardware 3 is less capable. And I've not had a version of FSD that was really useful on a day-to-day basis. I just would get it and there'd be so many flaws in it, I just wouldn't really want to use it on a normal basis. But I received an over-the-air update just about a month ago, maybe a little bit less than that, with a hardware 3 specific version of 12.6.4. And this is absolutely stellar. I've been using it every time I drive my Tesla for the past 3 weeks. And the only issue I see is that it doesn't do well in parking lots. It'll get you to a parking lot, but at that point I find it easier to take control to park myself. And my understanding is that the current hardware 4 version of the software is far better than what I have for hardware 3. But it's clear to me that even full self-drive 12.6.4 for the hardware 3 or the older cars is working very, very well. So I'm really happy with it. And I'm doing this video I figure you might not know a whole lot about Teslas, but be aware there are tons of people, just all kinds of people out there that do Tesla specific videos, and they'll go out and drive with every single new version that comes up. They do much better videos than I would do on this, but I just wanted to get this out there. So let's get on with it. I wanted to show you an example of my Tesla driving in full self-drive mode. So I set up my camera on a tripod in the back seat so you can see out the windshield and see the car's computer screen. The tripod isn't secured, so the camera bounces quite a bit in this video. Sorry about that. Now the left side of the screen shows an animated view of my car, which is red, and the surrounding relevant objects, such as other cars, the road, traffic signals, pedestrians, bicycles, and all of that. The right side of the screen shows a map of the area in which the car is driving, much like Google Maps would. For some reason, the camera has had difficulty picking up the map at times, so it looks dark on camera, but in person it can easily be seen, so probably pay more attention to the left side of the screen. I'll be running the video at 2 times normal speed, and the trip is from the gym to my house, and that's about a 15-minute drive, and you'll see it happen in about 6 minutes. First, I tell the car to navigate to my home, and then I pull down on the right-hand stalk briefly, and that puts it in self-drive mode, and the car leaves the parking lot, turning right. You can see my car is the red one on the left side of the display, and all the other cars are shown in monotone. In that animation on the left side of the screen, there's a wide blue line from the front of my car that indicates it's in full self-drive and also shows what it's planning to do in terms of upcoming lane changes or turns. I haven't had my hands on the wheel at all, but you can see me wave them to show you on camera that my hands aren't on the wheel. The wheel's turning all by itself. The car monitors your eyes to ensure you're paying attention, as this is supervised self-driving. If you look away from the road, the screen begins flashing blue, and then it reminds you to pay attention. You can see here I intentionally trigger the warning, which you can see as a dark blue band across the display with a written warning to pay attention to the road. If you do this very much, the warnings escalate and include warning sounds. And if you keep it up, the car will eventually pull over and then it won't run FSD again for some period of time. Later in the future, FSD won't require the supervision, and the person in the driver's seat will be free to do whatever they want, and the car will effectively become a robotaxi. One of the limitations I've noticed with this version of full self-drive, the one for hardware 3, is that it doesn't really do well in parking lots. It can get you in a parking lot and it'll drive through the parking lot and it might find a place to park, but I don't have patience with that. So once it gets into the parking lot, I usually take over and park it myself. My understanding is that the Hardware 4 version does much better in parking lots, so I'm looking forward to that improvement in my Hardware 3 version sometime in the near future. The settings allow you to set the maximum speed of the car relative to the speed limit. This enables the car to keep up with traffic. It makes it more human-like when it drives. I think I've got mine set to go up to about 8 miles over the limit, but in town it generally sticks pretty close to the posted limit. If it's going a bit fast and you want to slow it down, there's a thumb wheel on the steering wheel that you can use to temporarily slow or speed up the car, but it reverts to its default within a few minutes or after you turn onto another street. You definitely shouldn't slow down the car by hitting the brakes unless it's an emergency, as that will disengage the full self-drive function. You can see me adjusting the speed here because there's a sheriff's truck behind me and he has his lights on. They're not flashing, but they're on. You can also change lanes within Full Self-Drive by hitting the turn signal, and if it's safe, the car will make the lane change, as it did in this example, where I moved over to let the sheriff go by. And then the car moved back on its own to the left lane after the sheriff went by, as it needs to make a left turn later on. One issue I've had with FSD is that it doesn't necessarily go on the route you want. Uh, Although when you set up navigation, it'll usually provide an alternative on the map and you can point to it, but it's just not as good as Google Maps is for that kind of stuff. And this is a function of the mapping software that Tesla uses, not FSD itself, but it would sure be nice. Most of the times when I disengage from FSD, if I do, it's because I don't like the route it's going on. Sometimes it just takes, to me, an odd route and I just don't want to go that way. Once you're moving in Full Self-Drive, there's two ways to disengage the self-driving. You can either press the brake momentarily, or you can just turn the steering wheel sharply. And unless you're very close to your destination, it'll ask you why you disengaged, and you can tell it why verbally as a voice message. And it uses that feedback to improve future FSD releases. So as I'm approaching my driveway, when I get close, it has trouble recognizing my driveway because it's not on the current maps and it's just a gravel driveway. And the house is way in the back, so it's not obvious. So I usually just wait till it gets near the driveway and then I just turn into the driveway, and that releases it from Full Self-Drive, and then I can just drive up all the way up my driveway. Well, that about wraps up my video on Full Self-Driving in my old Tesla. And I just wanted you to know how excited I am about it because I've had the car since 2019 and I've not really had a useful version of Full Self-Drive. But I can see now that they're there. I mean, it's pretty much there. And I have the older version of hardware, but they're going to upgrade the people that bought Full Self-Drive that have old hardware 3, and they're going to upgrade us to hardware 4 at some point in the near future. And I think before a year, I think Full Self-Drive will finally meet my expectations and be essentially a robotaxi that'll take me anywhere I want to go. So that's going to be nice. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.